see if I can pull
Did
it
you
up.
hear me swallow?
I did.
It's gross. I
Let's
have the
see.
loudest swallow.
Where is it?
Is that a phobia?
Probably. Oh, here it is.
Hey, we have one new post link.
Oh, I love it. From who? That's really funny. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, should we get going?
Sure.
Welcome, everyone, to the Twaddling Along podcast. I am your host, Dan McBride, here with my brothers and co-hosts, Jake
I'm going to talk about your worst fears.
and Josh.
And I'm gonna fear.
You're gonna fear.
I thought there was going to be something else after
I thought so
that.
too. I was anticipating, like, okay, what? You're gonna
No,
fear.
he's just going to experience fear in
I'm
general.
just gonna be scared all the time.
I thought I was gonna be funny, but then
Which brings us to what we're talking about today. We have just gone through our paranormal episode with the Wendigo. That was over the Halloween week. And this is the follow-up to that, which is the human condition. And it is Jake's turn to bring it up. Jake, bring us in. What are we talking about this week?
Did you experience fear in last week's podcast?
yes.
This week, we're going to talk about why. Just kidding. We're going to talk about...
You're gonna talk about why Dan talked for 20 minutes nonstop and didn't cut down the story. That's what we're going to
Did
talk
you
about.
write that story?
I did.
Okay. I was
wait,
curious.
you wrote that story?
I did.
Because it
No
seemed,
flippin'
it seemed
way.
to have a mix of, Danisms in it.
Yeah, so I tried to with it. When I was going through it, I was actually trying to just find some story about it, but I wasn't very satisfied with any of them because it was kind of an amalgamation of a bunch of them. So I thought I'm just going to throw together a story. It was actually like way longer, like ridiculously longer, and I cut it down to.
You
what
should write
read last
a
week.
short story.
You need to put it on the website. Just have offshoot notes or stories
Oh,
that
there
you
you
can
go.
put in it.
The story. Yeah, I'm not going to do that very often anymore because that was really hard.
I'm surprised you have time for that, man.
I say you put a lot
didn't.
more effort
It was
into
like-
it than I did for this
It
week.
was like sitting up at midnight, like writing it and going, what was that? What did I just hear outside? Was that a Wendigo?
Oh, Winnebago.
The Winnebago. All right, Jake. Sorry.
The Winnebago.
the Winnebago.
Are you scared of Winnebagos?
What's that phobia called?
Ooh,
Let's look it up.
I say, we're gonna have to do a podcast in the future about odd phobias or unusual. I guess unusual is the better word for
Sure.
it. Just because there's a lot of them out there that are just they're
Weird.
interesting.
Danny,
So-
it said there isn't much information about a phobia of Winnebago, but there is called a maxophobia, also known as homoxophobia. This is a fear of driving or riding in a vehicle such as car, bus, or plane.
Really?
The next one that it relates it to, this is the AI overview on Google. Arachibutyrophobia. This is the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth.
Seriously, like we're
Yep,
gonna have to devote because there's some funny. There is one I need to find out how to say it, but you guys need to look up on your phones. Fear of long words.
Oh,
Isn't it like the longest word?
It is one. It's 15 syllables or not? Is it syllables? Yeah, syllables. So it is.
Oh my crap bucket.
Like I tried to pronounce it at home and I couldn't do it. So I'm gonna work at it because I think it would be fun to talk about that. But no, today we're actually gonna talk about more common phobias and fears. Now I had to look it up. I had to look up a few, I guess, descriptions of phobias because there is some common misconceptions about phobia. A lot of people will go, "Oh, I have arachnophobia," and it's like, well, actually, it's more of a fear. Where a fear is just like you're like, yeah, it scares me. Where a phobia is something that like it just envelops your being. Like you do everything in your power to avoid it. It consumes your life. You're constantly anxious about it. Things like that. Where with fear, it's it's just kind of a normal emotional response. Like when you see a spider, that's
just
it.
fear.
Yeah. Where if you're gonna avoid every place that you think there's a spider, to a point where it just that's what consumes your your vacations, consumes where you're going. That's what you would probably consider a phobia.
So is it like almost like an obsessive
yes.
fear, kind of? Is that kind of how?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, and that's what I was like. I was like, oh, okay, because I think oftentimes I'm always like, oh, yeah, you have a phobia, but it's probably more of a fear. But in doing research, there's over like 400 different recognized phobias out there.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. And again, like when you look into it, there's tons. Yeah, there's some pretty crazy ones out there.
Who decides what a phobia is?
See, and I couldn't find that out. There's only one recognized. Did you see a picture of a spider, Josh?
No, I have another phobia that
Josh
I'm going
just
to bring up.
Shivered and cringed a little.
I scrolled down and there was a picture of the phobia that I have, and now I'm having like heart palpitations.
Is it the hands with the holes in it?
Yes.
Ooh, I hate that. What is that? Thalassalophobia? What is
no,
that?
it's triadophobia.
The
Trypophobia.
Trypophobia.
Yes, the intense reaction to clusters of holes or bumps, such as those found in fruit, bubbles, or diseased skin.
Gross.
See, and isn't it funny that that's one of the main drivers for advertisements right now with some articles and stuff, is they just put a picture of like a hand with a bunch of holes in it. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, what is that? And you click on it because you want to know what it is, but then you're just traumatized by it.
I have noticed, speaking of advertising, they do one of two things anymore. They either play on your fears big time or they play on your frustrations. Have you guys ever watched, if you're watching YouTube, and for those of us who can't afford YouTube Premium because we're cheap people, they
what
do
are you saying?
They do they do the video game ads that are like someone playing video games bad, and you're like, this is the stupidest thing. But then in the back of your mind, you're like, I can do it better. And I get where that's coming from. It's a marketing ploy. But the phobia one gets me every time. Like it's one of those, like Jake was just talking about, this tryptophobia or whatever it is, where it deliberately shows you something so shocking to draw you into a product that has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, that was stupid.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, that was a waste of my time.
And then guess what? It's in the internet, so now they're going to keep sending you more.
The algorithm ruins my... What's a fear of algorithms? Someone look that up.
Fear of algorithms. Do you want to know? So while I was researching it, they talked about that a lot of these are old, but they said there's some new ones. My favorite is nomophobia.
Nomophobia?
Nomophobia.
The phobias of phobias.
The fear... Oh, no. There's one.
Oh, okay.
There's one of that. I'll talk about that later. But that's the fear of not having your phone on your person.
Nomophobia.
It is now being recognized as a fear, and it's actually, they say it's becoming very consistent with people under the age of 30. And with it, it's also the fear, oh my gosh, I'm going to run out of data.
I'm the only one under the age of 30. And I will say this, I panic if my phone's not, I feel like I'm missing something. And so it's not really a phobia per se, but it's like the panic of oh my gosh, where's my phone? Something.
Sure.
It almost feels like I'm not wearing my pants. That's what it feels like.
Do you have the ghost vibrations?
Oh, all the time.
Pants, where you're sitting there,
time.
like you're holding your phone and you feel something vibrate in your pants, and you reach down to grab your phone and you're like, wait a minute, it's already in my hand.
Yep. I have that all the time. It's embarrassing.
Honestly, because I have been on the phone with my wife and drop the phone trying to grab the phone that's in my pocket. And going, wait, there's no phone in my pocket. It's just buzzing. And then you start going, what the heck is going on? Because here's the funny thing. I very rarely put my phone in my front pockets, but that's always where I have the phantom buzzing, is in my front pockets.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
I mean, it's becoming very consistent. A lot of people have it.
So that's nomophobia?
So nomophobia, I think, is the
I feel
name.
like a Gen Xer or Gen Z person made that up because nomophobia, because no more.
Well, it reminds me of FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. It's the...
Oh.
Is there a FOMO-phobia? I'm going to look it up.
It probably is.
Okay, so give us some common ones, Jake.
All right. So starting out with probably the most widely known and pretty consistent arachnophobia.
Oh, that's just because of the movie.
It really is.
I love that movie.
I watched it with my wife and her family when we were dating. But I had to go home halfway through it because it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I need to go to bed. But I remember leaving there and on the way home just being like, there's something on my leg. Oh, now there's something on my
Oh,
arm.
really?
Oh, now
Did it
there's something.
scare you? See, arachnophobia didn't really scare me. I thought it was a horrible movie. Like, I
Oh.
thought it was funny more than it scared me, other than one part where, like, the spider jumps at the screen.
See, and again, mine's not like fear. It's that when you think about bugs
Oh, yeah.
and you start feeling like, do I have a bug in my hair?
Yes.
Like and then your hair starts itching.
Do you know what I watched last night? Speaking of this, I listened to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, or the movie version of the book.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the one where the lady has the spiders come out of her
Oh,
face.
yeah.
Ew.
The red dot, I think is what
Yeah,
it's called.
the red dot.
Yes.
Yeah, I was itchy all night long.
Oh, I've had that. But you don't like arachnophobia, huh?
I mean, I would watch it. I love the story.
Arachnophobia, you got Jeff Daniels.
Yes,
You've got John Goodman.
which is the best. He reminds me in Over the Hedge, the guy who is trying to kill the animals.
Oh, yeah.
John Goodman. and
I
him.
honestly think it's an homage. It's
Yeah.
got to be because he's kind of, I mean, arachnophobia I don't think was ever supposed to be like a scary movie. It's just kind of an homage to the old B movies. Do you know that it holds like a 93% rating on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh my god!
It is
Really?
it is like super highly rated, and it's been reviewed by everybody. So it's kind of it's one of those weird ones.
I never had any interest to finish it, so I've never watched it all the way through. But I mean, we sit with someone who probably is pretty close to having arachnophobia.
Hey,
Tell us about it, Josh. Hey, Josh, go ahead and tell us.
So
Tell us.
I will be honest. I've gotten better over the years because
Are you sure?
You
I
have?
got married, and my wife was like, "You have to be the one. If we're gonna get married, you have to be the one to kill the spiders." And of course, I said no, but we still got married. So I've gotten better over the years, but I really do have like this intense fear. And do you want to hear where it's from?
I do.
So instead of going to therapy, and my wife's going to kill me for saying this, I wrote kind of an autobiography to kind of find out if I could get down to points of anxiety, depression, whatever. Here it is. Once upon a time, we went to a museum, the Natural History Museum in Utah, and they had a tarantula out on someone's hand. I don't know if you guys remember this. This was a long, long time
Was
ago.
this before
I
it
was
moved?
way
Was
little.
was it still up
See,
at the
I
U?
remember. Yeah, it was at
It was
the U.
still at the U. So the guy had the tarantula, and I was underneath him. And the tarantula fell on my head.
That would do it.
Ever since then, that's where I've pinpointed where the fear of spiders has been.
But it
Absolutely.
didn't harm you in
It
any
didn't
ways.
harm
It
me.
just
and
like crawled
it
on
fell,
you.
It literally like fell on my head, and he picked it back up. So it was like a split second. But like from that point on,
That feeling.
that feeling of just spiders, or you know, when people tell you the statistic of like a spider is always 6 feet like from you at all times, that gives me nightmares at night. Like the other thing is my also biggest fear is, what if they lay eggs in my ears, or like climb in my mouth and like choke me out or something. I don't know.
The widely unproven statistic that you swallow 2 or 3 spiders a year.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
I believe it.
Well, you shouldn't.
See,
Yeah, but it is. I have a really hard time.
See, now I had a pretty severe fear of spiders until I went to the Philippines. And here's a Filipino story again. So, I mean, I went to the Philippines, and I'm used to the little dinky spiders. Over in the Philippines, I mean, they have spiders that are as big as your hand, and they're lightning fast.
see.
You have
So-
like the banana spiders.
Yeah,
and
banana
like the-
spiders. The demong it's just a big brown spider. They're tarantulas. The one we came across is black with kind of orange thing.
Oh, see, I'm getting
on the
chills.
So, but like the first time I came across it, literally it was one of the moments where like I stopped and froze. I couldn't move because I saw one on the floor, and it was big. It was pretty big. But over the experience, one time I was up in a very mountainous area. We were in a very dinky house, kind of a plywood house, surrounded by sugarcane fields. So we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm walking into our kitchen area, and I felt that I needed to look up. And I looked up, and I see this shadow falling from the ceiling, and suddenly I felt pressure on my chest. And I looked down, and I had a spider about this big, so about a little bigger than my hand, on my chest. Like looking down, and it's looking up at me.
Oh, I
Now-
would have died.
I screamed, and I said words that weren't appropriate for being a missionary at the
In
time.
Filipino or English?
It was English.
Oh, dang it.
So I might have even started some rumors about a screaming white man in the sugarcane fields. Speaking of new,
New paranormal.
paranormal things. So, but after that, it was like whatever. I still don't like tarantulas. I hate big spiders. I would prefer not to ever see them. But like little spiders, if I see a little spider in the house, it's like, man, smash it.
And that's my big thing is I don't, even with tarantulas, I don't know if I have like what you would consider to be a fear. Like I'm not scared of them. I'm kind of a live and let live. Even if I saw one in my backyard, I don't think I would do anything with it. I would just be like, well,
I've been to your house. You're a weird bug person where
I do.
it's part of the ecosystem.
peace and love, man. Peace and love.
No.
Yeah.
If you
They
see
eat all
one,
the other bad bugs out
bring
there.
out the poison and burn its family.
Josh is like fire.
The one thing I will say that I still have is if I'm out in like the middle of the field, if I'm in the middle of nowhere and I run across like a spider web, it does kind of give me the heebie-jeebies where I'm like, okay, like
I scream
This
like
is
a
odd.
banshee and run for my life.
Well, and because of our experience, we're familiar with what type of spider webs you have to be cautious of. So
Yeah,
when you come
yeah,
across like a
exactly.
funnel web, or you're in a dark place and you're seeing a bunch of dead spiders around, you're like, okay, that's usually a sign there's a black widow.
yep, exactly.
If there's a funnel web, it's like, oh, there's a hobo spider somewhere.
Yep. Or
So-
if there's webs on the ground, then there's definitely like, there's a burrowing spider that you have to be careful. That's true.
So I mean, that's what happens when you have to work with bugs.
Yep.
I just never, if I saw an inkling, I would send my partner to go do that area.
Really?
And
Oh.
it's funny because Danny still works at the place that all of us worked at, and his coworker, his wife, was my partner for a moment. She had no fear of spiders. She would go out, do the stuff that I couldn't do, but then when it came to snakes, man, I was thrown from a golf cart because she flew it around because there was a hose in the road.
And I would assume that a fear of snakes is
It's pretty
darn
common. Yep, it's on this list. It's ophidiophobia. I probably said that
Ophidiophobia.
really bad, but
Our Latin is awful.
yep, we're there. But yep, fear of snakes. That's on there.
Where do you think that came from? Fear of snakes.
I honestly think that the fear of spiders, the fear of snakes, anything that is in that kind of quasi land is all a fear of abnormal. It is coming across something that is not the norm and is probably built into us evolutionarily speaking, because spiders are poisonous and can kill you. Snakes are venomous and can kill you. And so like having those phobias are actually like, and I'm not necessarily the phobias. I think the fear is healthy. I think it's when it steps into the phobia realm that you're starting to get, it becomes the unhealthy part of it.
Do you realize that the first thing that I'm going to do when I get to the other side, I'm going to walk up to Heavenly Father and be like, okay, why? And be like, you can create any ecosystem you want. Why the flip did you put an eight-legged
That walks the way it does. It's hairy. You bite me.
So I've got a question. Speaking of just eight-legged, so are you scared of all arachnids?
Yes.
So like crabs,
Yeah, the crabs I could deal with, but I still
like it just gives you like it freaks you
still
out.
gives me the creeps.
See, and I'm concerned about ticks.
Yeah,
See, when you think about walking
True
through
bugs
the
and
brush,
everything.
I used to be pretty carefree when it came to that stuff before. I'm way worse now. Like when it comes to germs or other places, hence why last week I said there's no wood walking. You were in the 21st century.
No reason to go.
No reason. But I mean, I have that where it's like if I'm walking through some pretty strong brush and I'm not wearing appropriate clothing, like long pants and stuff, it's like I'm going to get a tick on me.
Well, and it's funny that you say that, and just in general with phobias, I have often wondered if phobias, like, I don't think anybody's ever born with a true phobia. It's something that it kind of melds into, and like the intensity of the fear kind of increases over time. And I honestly, like, I've seen in myself weird fears that have come up lately, like fears that I've never even thought about before. And I've thought, what the heck is driving these? One of mine, honestly, is almost bordering on agoraphobia.
Ooh. Now,
that?
what part of agoraphobia?
Let's define agoraphobia for us not smart people.
Agoraphobia. So that's here. Agoraphobia is the fear of open places,
Interesting.
crowded spaces, or places that are difficult to escape from.
So mine is the crowded spaces specifically. And I, the difficult to escape from, that's really interesting that you bring it up, because it almost, when I am in too crowded of an area, when I'm in an incredibly busy street, when I'm, just surrounded by a mass of people, I almost get like a fear adrenaline response that it makes me angry, like fight or flight, like that I want to start swinging at people, even though, bless these people, they're just around me.
Uh-oh. So, in other words, if you see Danny in public, please run.
Stay away. No, only if like we're surrounded by a mass of people. And I used to go to concerts and go into mosh pits. That was never a thing for me. Like, the mass of people was never a problem. But the older that I get, the more, when I enter into those situations, I start worrying about, okay, someone's going to try to rob me. Someone's going to try to hurt me. Am I going to be stuck in a place that I can't get out of? All these things are going through my mind to a point where I'm like, there are some times that if we plan to go somewhere and I think that there's going to be too many people there, I really have to kind of talk myself into going there. And sometimes I don't succeed. I just kind of end up being like, no, I'm not going to go. Like my son and I just barely went to a haunted house, right?
Dudes are fear of haunted houses.
So we go into, and I love haunted houses. I think they're kind of fun. But there was a moment that I was like, are there going to be too many people there? And I remember even talking to my wife and being like, I just don't want to be around that many people.
It's not the chainsaw guy. It's not the other ones. It's all those little teenagers running around.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
too many
right.
of them.
So, and it's weird. And I know that, like, in our family history, there is family history of like true blue agoraphobia, as in like locked in your house, do not move, do not go anywhere. And I'm very cognizant of that. And so I try to put myself into positions where I can kind of face that fear sometimes, just to kind of reassure myself that I can live through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm the same way. It's gotten a lot worse. My wife and I went to a blowout sale at a very popular warehouse thingy, and I walked in and there was probably 50,000 women in this place and me. And I walked in and I walked up to the first coat and people were touching me and stuff, not in like any way, but just like brushing up against me. I had to leave. I left without telling my wife, and then I just called her and said, I can't be in there.
Josh doesn't have agoraphobia, he has gynophobia, the fear of
Fear
women.
of women.
Well, yeah.
I say I have it too. No, I've had it for a while. I remember I went to one of the Comic-Cons with my wife, and I love them. I would love to go to more of them.
Too many people.
Too many people.
There's just so many people.
Now, I'll ask this. Is that because we're introverts? Like, we're doing a podcast, and everyone's going to be like, oh, you guys are extroverted, you talk about whatever. In the inside, I am super introverted.
Oh,
I recharge with nobody other than my wife.
After this, we go home in a quiet corner and go, I want peace.
And we cry a little.
So, do you think it could be attached to like introvertism or
yeah, I don't know. I
don't know.
I would think so. I also think it is, we are cautious by nature. Mm-hmm. And I think we were raised cautious by nature. And I think that's just something that has kind of come along with our family. And so we kind of take caution to heart sometimes. And that caution kind of makes it so we don't want to go and do, the big crowded area stuff, because it's in a way maybe I'm talking about myself and you can see if you guys agree or not, but it feels like I'm putting myself in danger if I go into those kind of situations sometimes.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like I'll have the full experience. So like we always went to Disneyland at the least crowded times.
Yeah.
And so I think because of that, we just kind of learned, and we would try to go to other things when it wasn't crowded, because that was I mean, for us, the experience was getting on the rides, going and doing things, not standing in line and shoulder to shoulder. My wife, her and her family always went to things during time off for school, which meant heavy crowds. Everyone's there. And so because of that, I mean, their family is pretty used to it. And my wife is really shy, but she doesn't have an issue with that.
That's interesting.
So at least that she's told me. Maybe I need to have a talk with her about it.
Have her listen
I'm
to
spreading
this and
rumors. Sorry, Julie.
Okay, what's next on the list?
All right. Fear of heights. Acrophobia.
Our mother has a fear of heights.
Severe.
I remember
She can't even look over anything.
Yeah, I was going to say
She can't even walk up and down stairs if she can see through them.
Yep.
I remember a time when we were taking pictures down in St. George. We were on vacation and we were on top of the monkey bars. This is when we were younger, of course. Like, I couldn't even get up there now. But our mom took one step up the ladder just to look over, so she was with us, and she was in a complete panic.
See, and once again, it's one of those things where these are the kind of phobias that I go, okay, they make sense.
Yeah.
You know, being up high makes sense that you're going to be a little frightened by it, you know. So why even put yourself in the situation? So I can almost talk myself into this kind of phobia, even though I've never had this phobia myself. I up and down, left and right, and I could care less. But
now here's my question, because I find a fear of heights very interesting because it tends to develop in people as they age. For example, our dad was never had a fear of heights, but more recently he's said that when he gets up on the roof or a ladder and things, it makes him a little bit.
You know, you say that, but I know really, really young kids, and I know I talked about it being like a lifelong thing, but I know kids that are born with kind of
A fear.
I don't even know if fear is the right word, but like impressive caution.
Gotcha.
You know, that they don't want to put themselves in danger, and that exhibits itself as fear. I don't know if that you would consider that a phobia at that age, but definitely like almost an inbred fear.
So the question is would you jump out of a plane?
Yeah.
If I didn't have any other responsibilities at that time, I'd be down for it.
Yeah, I couldn't do it now because I got kids at home. But like if I was like 75 and my kids are all grown up and have kids of their own, oh yeah, I'll jump out of a plane. Jump out of a plane without a parachute.
We'd have a heart attack on the way down, but it'd be fine.
Yeah, can you imagine us old guys? Let's do it. If you're 75, that means I'd be 65. We'd be a geriatric unit. We'd probably get like some like senior citizen discount to go jump out of a plane. And then it would be on the news.
Question is, does that cause our life insurance to cease if we do such dangerous activities?
Maybe we should be talking about this. I never want to do anything dangerous.
What's life insurance? No, just kidding.
Speaking of flying, the fear of flying, aerophobia. I don't have this. I love flying.
I don't either.
You know, mine, I guess I have all the phobias.
Yeah, you're pretty
Let's be honest.
Phobic.
Yeah, I take medication. No, mine is takeoff and landing. Up in the air, totally fine. If it's crazy, like, what's the word where it's bouncy and stuff?
Turbulence.
If it's turbulence, I actually have really fun during turbulence on the plane. But the takeoff and the landing, you can ask my wife. I have to hold her hand.
Really?
I sound like a child, but it's true. Like, for some odd reason, I don't know if I just heard that is the riskiest parts of flights is the first 10 minutes and last 10 minutes, landing and taking off. And so in my mind, it's like, well, if I'm going to die, it's going to be right here. And then if not,
it's going to be right here as the pilot's getting the little walkway to go back. We're going to die right here. The walkway's leaving.
Yep.
We're all going to die.
Yep. But then, you know, I'm falling 300, 400, 500 feet in turbulence. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun.
This must be like a fairly recent one. This is not like a long-term phobia because we haven't been flying for all that long.
It's only just a century, really.
It was the people that found out their fear of heights while they were falling and going, hey, this is kind of, wait, no, this is scary.
Well, and actually, that's what I was going to ask is I'm wondering if like, can these actually be individualized or is this like a combination of fear of heights and like claustrophobia? You know what I'm talking about? Like, is being scared of being on an airplane just a combination of phobias kind of manifesting themselves, or is it like a very distinct phobia?
Claustrophobia and the fear of heights.
Yeah.
That brings up a good point because I think if I had more leg room on an airplane, I'd be okay.
What?
Just your
What?
leg?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is if you could lounge.
So if you were in first class, you wouldn't have any problem.
I would
You're
not
like, well,
have any issue. So, since that's a mental illness, I think I should get first class every time I fly a plane.
You just go up and you're like, I
have a disability. And you,
Here's my doctor's note.
first class.
No, but what I'm talking about is that's claustrophobic for me. We have long legs. Like, I can't spread out. I like crossing my feet. I'm literally sitting in not fetal position.
You're not in fetal position, John.
It was the spider talk, wasn't
I'm
it?
in the crisscross applesauce.
Crisscross applesauce.
But I can't do that on a plane. And so for me, I get like antsy.
Interesting.
But if I can stretch out, I'm fine.
I have a Game Boy or a Steam Deck. I don't care. I'm just playing.
Okay, what's next?
All right. Let's see here. Dentophobia. Guess what that is?
Fear of dentists.
Fear of dentists. I hate the dentist.
I hate the dentist.
I don't
as
have
well.
a fear of the dentist. I just hate the dentist.
Do you know what's funny? This is where I'm opposite. I love the dentist.
You like the dentist?
Do you know why?
Oh, no.
Now, this is going to be, you're going to find in the world of Josh.
Now, remember, Josh, a lot of people might hear this.
Yes.
And by a lot of people, I mean like 15.
Yes.
So Josh doesn't have a phobia of dentists. What he has is a little bit of something for dentists. Is that what we're talking about?
No, I know. I like the anesthesia they give me.
Oh, so you're just a drug addict.
Yes. I love that feeling of happy yes.
So do you get happy gas every time you go?
No, I don't anymore because it's ridiculously expensive. When mom and dad had to pay for it, sure.
Slap it on.
Turn it up.
We're fine.
Yeah, but the fear of dentist, I've never had that.
I don't fear the dentist. I hate the dentist, and I think part of my hatred of the dentist is because I know they're gonna like reprimand me for not taking care of my teeth well enough.
Yes.
And so I'm like, I just don't want to have to deal with you.
And it's sad because at least I have a different dentist now, and I don't know if Jake or you.
I do.
But
I don't. I'm still with. Are you talking with Steve?
yes, we had the same dentist who
All our
was
lives.
our parents' high school friend, and so it was like, oh, you didn't floss, and it was like, shut up. don't
I know what you did in high school.
Yeah,
Your
exactly.
gums are bleeding.
Yep.
Hemophobia, fear of blood.
Never had this one.
I don't have a fear of blood.
I have fear of my own blood.
I know people who do have a fear of blood that is incredibly intense to a point where they can't think too much about. They can't think about the blood in their own body because it scares them. And I'm not even kidding. Like
Really?
people that quite literally can't ponder their own like processes in their body too much because it will send them into an anxiety attack.
It's really good we don't have that because every time our cheeks would turn red, we'd be like, oh my gosh, there's blood. Pass out.
I will say this: my sister-in-law, my wife had some issues with her shoulder, and they took X-rays of the shoulder. Our sister-in-law just so happened to go with us. I have no idea why, but she did. She was so scared about the procedure that the doctor was explaining and about what would happen with the big needles and the blood and everything. She passed out like hardcore and had a seizure. And we asked her later, like, she kind of has that phobia of like blood because it's just not good.
Yeah. Don't be a doctor if you have hemophobia, though.
I don't think you would make it really far. But then again, maybe you could really fake it for a while. Okay. Next one. Glossophobia. Fear of public speaking.
I know a lot of people who have this.
I had this before I went to college and on my mission. After that, I didn't care. I used to get called up all the time, and after that, I was like, yeah, okay, this is fun.
Yeah, and I think that's something I don't know if I ever had anything like this. I think that I was.
As Josh is really good at saying, we tend to really like talking out of our butt. We're
Yeah.
able to kind of say whatever we want.
So even though we're introverted by nature, I think that put in a position we're all pretty darn good
I
about
feel, and I think
doing.
I
the public
exemplified
speaking
this
thing.
a lot more in my youth of acting. I was in musicals and things.
Yeah.
And I feel like in our genetics, we have this thing where if we're called upon to go on stage, we can act really well.
Well, over.
We're dramatic.
Yes.
We're over
Yeah.
dramatic.
But then you meet us at home and stuff, and it's like, don't talk to me. Like,
Well, which is pretty common. I mean, they talk about not Charlie Chaplin, Peter Sellers.
that was a completely different person.
Whatever.
Peter Sellers.
I mean, they had a little bit of a similar mustache.
I guess. So Peter Sellers hated being in like parties and stuff, not because he hated them, but because people would come up and have an expectation of him that he would be funny all the time and everything. So I think that's fairly normal for people.
He was
sense.
actually really grumpy.
From my understanding,
people-
like super grumpy.
Yeah.
If people don't know who Peter Sellers are, you are fools.
Watch the original
And
Pink Panther.
watch the original Pink Panthers.
But we also
All
hope
of
that you
them.
don't stop listening to this podcast because the host just called you fools.
Fools, all of you who don't know who Peter Sellers are.
They are really funny.
They are hilarious.
My wife had never seen any of them. She watched the newer ones,
Oh,
and I was like, "Oh, you're missing out." So I didn't realize though, because when we were young, we watched Pink Panther Strikes Again,
yeah.
yeah.
or
Pink Panther
Strikes Back.
Returns. Pink
The one with the castle.
Yeah, that was the Pink Panther.
I can't remember.
I can't remember that one actually. And then there was one before that we watched, but I didn't realize there was like 4 or 5.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Yeah.
watched all of them, and like the first one was hilarious, where they go up to like a ski lodge and stuff.
Yeah, it's Pink Panther. There's one that's called A Shot in the Dark.
I love the shot.
A Shot in the Dark is one of my favorite. And then The Return of the Pink Panther is a really, really good one. Pink Panther Strikes Again, Revenge of the Pink Panther.
See, and we watched, I think, the Return of the Pink Panther and then the Strikes
Yeah.
Back. We watched those ones. That's what my dad had.
Oh,
So.
I love those.
See, and I haven't watched them for a moment, and now I'm gonna have to go watch them when I go home.
I will. They're one of the few like that. Some of them are slow burners,
Yes,
but once they get going, they are so funny.
Yes.
And it's really all Peter Sellers.
It really is.
Peter Sellers is just amazing.
that and K2.
K2. For doings.
Go watch the show.
So
All
do you
right.
think Peter Sellers had phobias?
Oh, I'm sure.
There's plenty of actors that have them. Who was it? I was actually reading. I'm trying to remember who it was. I think I have it somewhere. It was Alfred Hitchcock. Had a fear of eggs.
Are you
Fear of
serious?
eggs?
A fear of eggs.
The great Alfred Hitchcock?
Yeah, let me make sure I'm not.
So birds wasn't about fear of birds. It was about the fear,
Fear
of
of
eggs.
eggs.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it really quick.
Can you imagine just to play a prank on him and bring him like scrambled eggs?
Well, they talked about that he would openly gag if you cracked an egg.
I do that with like
Doesn't
sauce.
Doesn't Guy Fieri do that too?
I can't remember.
Guy Fieri does.
Yeah, I think that he's not a big egg guy, like to a point where.
Well, I
like,
think I know he doesn't like eggs, but that's kind of funny. So ovophobia is what it's called, and it was Alfred Hitchcock. So, but I mean, there's others. There was there was an actress that is scared of indoor plants.
indoor plant. Well, ficuses. They're
Touching
terrifying.
a dirty house plant actually feels like torture. So,
That's crazy. All right, so what's our next one? We were just which one were we just talking about?
we
The
were
Pink
talking about
Panther,
initially the fear of blood, and
Fear
then
of blood.
we somehow got in Peter Sellers after that.
Well,
Peter Sellers, if you're listening from heaven.
Mysophobia.
Ooh, mice.
No, so it's a fear of germs or contamination.
Oh, awkward.
Is it misophobia or is it mysophobia? I don't know.
I don't know.
So fear of germs contamination. Again, child through teen,
Not a problem.
not a problem. Now, probably because of
COVID.
the man cold, COVID, all that
Yeah.
other stuff, I am so much more cautious. When I'm outside, sitting in the grass even used to be something I would love doing, laying down. I have a hard time doing that now.
No kidding. I wonder. That's got to be kind of a shared phobia all throughout the world because I honestly think COVID messed people up in the whole. Like, I think that you were forced to confront a lot of your fears, and if you were already a fearful person, the idea that there was a germ out there that was affecting, and killing people, you're just like justified. You're like, see, I knew it.
I'm never leaving my house again.
I'm agoraphobic.
That's what I use.
That's your
That's what
excuse.
That's my excuse.
I could get COVID and die. I'm not leaving my house.
Yeah, exactly. I take medication for it.
Well, it's probably a good thing you don't want to get sick, because then you'd have this next one. Nosocomophobia. Again,
Who
Nosocomophobia.
the heck names these?
fear of hospitals.
Okay, so no, I don't have that.
Josh had to parse through his fears. No, I'm scared of. I'm scared of parking
Josh
lots.
has a little Rolodex. He's like, no.
No, mine's PTSD. I have PTSD with hospitals, but that's a different podcast.
Once again, like, I don't think that illegitimate of a fear to not like hospitals, but like phobic to a point, because I could see someone who has this phobia just being like, I'm going to just die instead of going to the hospital. Going off of what Jake said at the very
people
beginning.
do that,
Yeah, that are just like, I would rather be done with life than ever step foot in a hospital. And let's be honest, hospitals are stinky places. That's why I hate them. No, have you never noticed? Like, you walk into a hospital, there is a distinct smell to a hospital.
Yeah, it's called sanitation.
Oh, is that what it is?
Danny's like, what's that smell? Cleanliness.
How dare they? What's the fear of cleanliness?
Find out. I don't have that on. It's not a usual one, Danny. So
Okay, what's the next one?
all right. Social phobia, which I mean is pretty straightforward. A fear of social interactions.
Fear of social interactions.
Again, I don't have this. Now, I do have that one thing where you'll talk to someone and then afterwards go, well, that was really stupid of me. I mean, the other day I was coming out of Olive Garden and here's this guy who's been holding a door for everyone to come out. And I was going to say, oh, thank you so much. And I said, wow, you have a lot of patience. And then I left and I went, why did I say that?
It's one of those things
What was I doing?
in the dark of the night, you're like replaying the day and you're just like, oh, I am an idiot.
So here I'm like, oh, I had this perfect thing and I just blew it. So
I'm notorious. The amount of people that I've U2'd, if you know what I'm talking about, like you're going through the McDonald's drive-through and enjoy your meal, you too. Oh, and I can't help myself.
going back for a colonoscopy, enjoy your surgery, you too. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope you have a good one too. Speaking of which, colonoscopy is awesome. They knock you out and you wake up and you feel great.
See, now, is it the anesthesia?
It is the anesthesia.
That's what I'm talking about. I've been put under so many times. If I was a drug addict, I would I would pay an anesthesiologist.
I think they use propinafol, which is what Michael Jackson died of.
Oh, hey, I just watched a thing that, oh gosh, I just forgot his name. The really funny, Robin Williams.
Oh, he's talking about it on
yeah, he was talking about it
Graham
on
Norton show.
Oh, on the Graham Norton show, yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, it was the greatest thing he's ever
I was watching our British shows again.
Oh, seriously. We are Anglophiles, not Anglophobic. We're not scared of English people.
I'm pretty scared of freaking English people.
I would be scared of English people. It depends on the part of England.
Yeah, that's true. The more dangerous parts of England.
No, it's just stepping out of the hotel. You're like, yep, nope, this is the bad part of England. Nope, now I can't go. Okay.
All right, what's next?
Cynophobia, fear of dogs, or cynophobia.
I have this to an extent.
Josh has this for good reason.
How many dogs have you been bitten by?
Let's see.
Wait, let's. I'm going to rephrase that because that was like a terrible grammatical sentence.
Oh,
how many dogs have bit you? How many damn dogs been bitten you?
Dag blam dog.
I think my count is 4.
4 bites.
4 bites. 2 have broken skin.
Okay, so that's pretty legitimate for you.
And all were because Danny was my manager.
Sorry. Sorry.
The moral of the story is don't let Danny boss you around.
Shh, don't say those kind of things. I have to hire people.
Oh, that's right.
Because of my dog bites, you guys had to change rules
We
and
did.
policies at
We,
your
100%
Well, what's
did.
funny is there's policies and rules in place to begin with, and Josh just kind of, you know.
No, hey, my first one, the guy's house that I went to, and if this guy's listening and you know who you are, repent.
Yeah, because he's going to remember this event.
definitely gonna
He's like,
remember.
I remember.
I remember back in
Gangly
2017.
booted man coming in. And
Now, as soon as I say what his house was like, you're going to be like, well, Josh, why did you even do it? He had a fenced-off house,
Uh-huh.
and I walked through the fence.
Okay. So
what are you supposed to do, Josh? You shake the fence.
I shook the fence, and I'll tell you what happened. I shook the fence, was going to go and knock on this guy's door because I needed to treat a pond in his backyard. Come to find out, he was holding the dog until I was inside. And then when I was inside the fence, he let the dog go
on purpose?
on purpose. So the dog came up, and luckily I had a plastic thong.
A plastic thong. Oh, really, John?
Wow.
Wow.
And the dog was like, whoa.
Whoa. Whoa there.
we don't allow
No.
that type of immodesty here.
I had a plastic thing we called a dipper. And luckily the dipper was like my...
It was your,
Now,
it was
to
my-
talk, let's just real quickly. A dipper is a plastic cup on a long stick that
it's
you
a plastic
use to-
ladle.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a large plastic ladle.
It is a weapon. And the dog came at me, and we kind of had this like match between each other, and the guy came to the front and told his dog to leave, and he was like, oh, well, I'm glad my dog knows what he needs to do. And I was like, okay, I can't deal with this guy. But that was my first one. That one bit me on my arm.
I don't think we were allowed to go back to that guy's house
Nope,
after that.
nope,
No.
you weren't.
No.
But the time that I actually broke blood was at the zebra house. The dog.
Again, there's so many inner jokes right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So-
this is getting deep into the lore here.
So there's a place that has a zebra nearby where we live. And I walked up to this house and knocked on the door once again. I had to go treat, I think it was a horse trough in this one for the zebra. The lady opened the door, and from behind the lady, the bloodhound came and bit my arm.
Yeah.
And that one actually did. Here's a scar. I'm pointing to a scar on my arm.
You have a scar on your arm.
I have a scar on my arm. And that one I
It's
had
not
to.
a mole,
No, nope. That's a scar.
a freckle.
Scar. I just kept pointing at it.
I just want to say I kind of wonder how often it's moved around. And you're like, you see this right
I
here?
swear that was on your leg last time we talked about this.
No. But that's the one I had to call my actual manager. His name was Brian. And I had to go and get the medical records for the dog
Yeah.
because of rabies.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if this dog has rabies, I can have rabies.
Josh is going to go crazy.
And that explains everything about your life up to this point.
Yeah, and that's why we're talking about it.
Rabies.
This has actually been an intervention, Josh. We just needed to get to this point. It was kind of a workaround.
I'd
but-
just like to point out that every phobia you've mentioned so far, I think I've hit like 80% of them. So
Well, let's keep going. What's our next phobia?
All right, so we have the trypophobia, which we talked about earlier.
Yep,
The
the
fear of
holes.
and this one legitimately gives me anxiety.
I think I don't know if this one doesn't, like, I'm pretty sure this is almost a universal one.
This one's just disgusting for me.
Yeah, I think that's mostly, I think it just, you have an automatic response to it.
I had a panic attack. I was at work. Once again, I was doing some work, and there was an ad on the side of a website I was on, and I started having a panic attack. My chest tightened up. My heart started racing. My breathing was off. I had to go sit on the toilet to calm myself down because
What better place, I guess.
because my cubicle's right next to like the biggest conference room on our floor where all the leadership of my company meet. And so can you imagine me?
What's wrong with him? What's wrong with
So
him?
I thought maybe if someone heard that in the bathroom, they would understand.
I would imagine that they would be in there going, "Oh my gosh, what's going
Well,
on?"
I will say this.
That's called compaction. Eat more fiber.
It was the only time that I've heard the door open and shut, and no one's in
immediately
there.
shut. So you're weeping over holes.
But yeah, that lasted 3 days. I had like anxiety for 3 days after that.
Just from that?
Just
Wow.
from that, it was a legitimate.
Okay, so that's pretty
That's
phobic.
that's pretty
phobic.
And so
You
when
should
I
go see someone about
when I
that.
looked up that that picture, like my chest is tight and it's kind of like
Ooh, really?
it's egging on me.
See, and they're fake.
Yeah, they're not
They're
real.
not real. That's the thing about
But
it.
there
It's just-
are real holes.
Not really.
Yeah, the ones on your body are not ones we discuss.
Yeah, but we can microscope
Josh
them.
looks into his nose. Oh my gosh.
It's not that. It's
No.
a collection of holes. So like, mine is.
You group them together.
Excuse me? PG, Joshua, PG.
Yeah, like when.
I'm just saying.
So it's not just one hole. I look at. I'm like, oh! it's
Every time you
it's
open
a
your mouth.
cluster of holes.
Clustered.
The other thing that also scares me that goes along with that is like barnacle-esque things that are clumped together. So like
So was watching
On
Pirates
skin.
of the Caribbean just
yeah,
terrifying
so the
for you?
barnacles on a bottom of a ship gives me anxiety
Really?
that they have to like scrape off. So like things that are like
That's interesting.
Barnacles are pretty gross when you think about them.
I guess so. Okay, what's next?
Okay,
Before we send Josh into
I know
another
I'm like
anxiety
I'm rubbing my
attack where-
chest, box breathing. Everyone,
Where he's gonna-
seconds,
All right.
4 seconds.
where he's
So,
going to
I
end up in
mean,
the bathroom.
You have the normal fear of cancer, fear of death.
Sure.
I don't
I don't
fear
think we
death.
need to discuss too much of that because that's pretty
no,
obvious.
that's pretty obvious.
I mean, it's-
Though some people's fear of death is severe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that could also leads to the agoraphobia and the you know, the shut-in syndrome and everything.
yeah,
like
and
that.
the germs, contamination,
germs,
pretty much
yeah.
everything. In fact, pretty much everything you think about probably leads to
The fear
death.
of death. Yeah.
So
Surprise, everyone.
I mean-
Everything leads to death. So that's this week's podcast. For thank you.
we was wanting to get to this point. Okay, monophobia, the fear of being alone. I don't have this.
I don't either.
I love my wife.
I crave it.
What's the opposite of a phobia?
Um,
I'm going to look it up.
an addiction. I don't know.
Addiction of
That's-
alone.
That's not right.
Let's see.
Yeah, I don't think any of us have a problem.
So I mean,
Love.
I could see a lasting loneliness where you don't have any contact with anyone.
Now, eternity being alone, I have a fear of.
Ooh, that's interesting. So the idea that when you die, you're just
Alone.
left to your own.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Or it's just black.
By the way, the opposite of phobia is a philia. So
Monophilia.
monophilic.
Oh.
Actually, maybe we shouldn't use that because that sounds like
That-
you
that-
love yourself a little too much. If you know what I'm saying.
That's what I was about to say.
Isn't there, what is that called? When you just love yourself, it's after
Narcissism?
Yeah, narcissist.
No, we don't use that word either. Joshua. Just kidding.
And
Oh, boy.
next,
Narcissism. Is there a fear of narcissism?
Probably
Yeah, I hate narcissists.
Well,
Well, that's more hating.
called anti-politics.
Nice.
By the way, I think this is coming out. Let's see.
literally the
The
week,
week
of
of-
election.
I think the day before election. If you haven't voted, go vote. It's important.
Do you have a fear of one or the other? Maybe you shouldn't vote for that.
well, if either of them fail, they certainly should hope they don't have atichophobia. I have no idea how. Atichophobia.
Atichophobia.
I don't know. Fear of failure.
Yeah.
Now, I don't.
Like fear of, once again, like this is one of those ones where it's like, okay, everybody probably doesn't like failure. What makes it a fear?
Someone wakes up in the morning and goes, you know what I want to do today? Fail.
I just wanted to
I just didn't feel like succeeding today.
I'm just
You take one step out the door and go, nope.
That was a really bad time to take a drink. It just went through my nose.
Oh, better not have a fear of the holes, Josh.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, maybe there's people out there that are like, you know what? I learned from failure, and you're like, that's cool. Go sit in that corner.
I hate those people.
Just leave me alone.
If
Oh my gosh.
those people that want to be like all, oh, failure is the best thing for you. No, it's not. Success is awesome. I like succeeding.
Maybe there's a fear of success. Let's find out.
Fear of success.
A fear of success.
Fear of success.
There's got to be. It's going to like send you to like a self-help blog.
Fear of success is the fear of achieving or desire. There's not even, let's do phobia.
Are you feeling down?
After this, we're going to have a whole lot of ads to like therapy and
Seriously.
BetterHelp and
Which brings us back to the fear of the algorithm.
achievemophobia.
Achievemophobia.
That just sounds just like someone's like, you know what? I need to be in bed. I have achievemophobia.
Like I said, I'm going to start using these phobias as like a reason not to go into work. I can't do it. I have achievemophobia.
It's like I wanted to go back for a master's program, but I fear success. I don't want to do that no more.
That sounds like the most arrogant phobia. I don't like to succeed. I don't want it.
I've
succeeded
too
too
much.
Oh my gosh. Do you think there's someone who's ever gotten to that point where they're like, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. I have succeeded so far and I don't want to
Listen,
anymore.
I volunteer as tribute. I feel like in a standard, scientific way, we need to test the theory. I will volunteer to have achievemophobia.
We're gonna have follow-up appointments. We're gonna document this.
We might even publish.
Ooh,
I mean,
I think we could do it.
we could publish
Get
this.
enough reviews.
I think we have plenty of credentials. We have at least 4 episodes.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So, was that the list, Jake?
So that was the main list. There are tons more, and I think it would be hilarious to go over some of those ones that are a little bit more
Just outrageous.
unusual. And
I
again,
think that we will.
And I
I
shouldn't say
feel
outrageous.
for people that have these because
Sure.
there are a lot of things that cause them to have this.
I was going to say we're making fun of. I'm not making fun of this, but we're making light of this a little bit. But I also understand that this could be life changing in a detrimental way if you have these
Yeah.
phobias. And we are always going to recommend that if you do have these phobias or something that is exhibiting some signs of phobic behavior,
Don't follow Josh's example.
Yes.
Go
don't write your
see-
autobiography. Go see a
Is there a
therapist.
fear of autobiographies?
Yes. I will say
Oh
this.
my gosh, Teddy Roosevelt's autobiography.
Who wrote this? Teddy Roosevelt?
Yeah, I will say this. So as you have now come to understand, I have a lot of phobias and a lot of fears, a lot of anxieties and depressions.
There's a fear of automatic toilets.
Hey,
It's those cruise ship ones that seem like they're going to suck
Oh
you down
my
in there.
gosh.
but have you know? Okay, so side tangent.
Okay.
Have you ever been like in a public place, let's say like a gym or something, and you're using the bathroom, and you're not quite done, and it flushes on you, and you know there's a line outside, and you know that people have heard the flush, and they're like, he's gonna come out, and so they like stand awkwardly in front of the door, and you're like, I'm not done. What do I do? What do I do?
I'm sorry. I'm the one that has to double flush sometimes. So it's even worse then when it's not an automatic that you have to flush to keep going.
So the combination of the two, we call it the dreaded triple flush.
It's one of
What's
those.
the fear of triple flushing? Someone look it up.
See, my thing is, it auto flushes when you go to wipe,
Yes.
and so you
Yes.
lose the toilet paper and your hand in the process.
And it's scary.
And
See,
then-
and germophobia. This is the fear. That is a legitimate fear. The fear of automatic toilets. That
toilets.
might be the most legitimate fear we've talked about
Oh
tonight.
my gosh.
That is right.
All right, boys. Well, time to end. Just a couple quick announcements before we do final thoughts, though. This is our final of this 3-part series. That means that next week you will not have a podcast come, and we will come back the following week with a new podcast on history. We haven't quite decided what that's going to be. We do need that week break.
We'll have to do something around Thanksgiving.
Yep, we'll have to do. Oh yeah, seriously.
I don't know if we want to go. I don't know if we want to go into that.
I don't want to go into the
History of
political.
Thanksgiving.
Political. Maybe we'll do Canadian Thanksgiving.
Josh.
Ooh, Canadian Thanksgiving. It's the same.
Oh, but is it my turn to do history? Oh,
It is your turn to do
we
history.
could do Canadian Thanksgiving. They actually really celebrate it.
That's what I hear. It's actually like a really big thing.
Yeah, here in America, it's like let's kill a turkey and
Oh,
Let's do it.
but it's my favorite.
But
Not
Canada-
killing turkeys,
Canada-
but eating the turkeys.
Dan,
I love killing turkeys.
I have a fear of success. I'm gonna go kill that turkey.
How would you like to be the fattest turkey on like the president chooses?
How dare you say fattest and look at me? Who do you think you are? Okay. With that, the second announcement is that we are still looking for ideas for future podcasts. And as Jake said, he has to pick the history one. I'm sure he would probably like
You
a
guys
little
should
bit
help
of help.
me out, please.
Please send those to emails with an S at twaddlingalong.com. That's emails at twaddlingalong.com. And just put in the subject line episode idea. That way we can kind of parse through them and make sure that we can kind of organize those.
Remember, I have innocent eyes and I fear really bad words.
And that is the other thing is that, remember, this is a family-friendly podcast, even though
Not that you would know sometimes.
but we try to keep it at least semi-PG.
Yeah,
so.
we'll sue your pants off. Let's be honest here. We're going to take you for everything you have.
So please.
Someone says the word deuce. Josh is like, sue him. Sue him.
Did you say deuce?
Deuce.
That's number 2 in Spanish.
No, it's not, Josh. Dos is number 2 in Spanish.
I just
now we're gonna
offended
get
everybody.
So much for the
I'm
family
so sorry.
friendly rating. Okay, final thoughts. We're going to start over with Josh, who literally, in the
thank
past
heavens.
several episodes, has offended practically half of the world.
This
Go
is
ahead,
why
Josh.
I don't go out. Okay, I'm going to get serious. I have anxiety. I have depression. I have a lot of fears and phobias. It's okay.
Once again, we got to work on how you end sentences.
Sorry. No, it's okay to get help.
It is okay.
It's totally normal. You know, more people have them than you know.
You're not alone. That is a big. I think that's
Yeah.
a big thing, and that's kind of be my final thought for the night. Is as much fun as it is going through this, we do once again recognize that this is a legitimate part of people's lives, and we would only encourage you that if you are finding yourselves coming to a point where your life is impacted detrimentally by phobias, go get help. It's not that big of a deal anymore. This is, going to therapy shouldn't be stigmatized. It should be celebrated. So go and do that. Jake, final thoughts from you,
Arithmophobia.
which is?
Fear of numbers.
I can't have that. I'm an accountant. 1,
Maybe-
2,
maybe-
3.
Get to a specific number. Hey, Friday the 13th.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's just a number. I just wanted to bring that up because last week people made fun of me because I couldn't count straight.
I forgot about that. So the first thing that you learned today is what? It's okay to have phobias. The number 3rd? I'm scared of numbers.
And with that, thank you for joining us, twaddling along. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Josh wanted to say something and then forgot. He froze.
He froze.
He went to say something. It was almost like a burp, but you couldn't let it out.
Yep.
Bye, everyone.